I'm Tony. He's Mike, and we are here to do a quick and dirty. Let you know whether or not you should click on HBO Max's Hugh Jackman star-powered vehicle, Reminiscence. Mike, you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah. I don't really have a whole heck of a lot to say about this one. Except for it's kind of a mismatch of several genres. It wants to be a film noir. It wants to be kind of sci-fi. It wants to be a lot of things, and it doesn't do any of them particularly well. Um, Hugh Jackman is Hugh Jackman. You know what? One thing I come to realize about Hugh Jackman, and everybody's like, "Well, oh, he's such a great actor. He does Wolverine great." Well, I think the character of Wolverine made Hugh Jackman great. I don't really think he's all that particularly great of an actor because most of the movies I think of where he's in that he doesn't play Wolverine, he's just kind of there. I mean, he's not a bad actor, but he's just not. Nothing really stands out. Nothing's really riveting. Nothing really grabs you about his acting. And this is definitely the case with this one. And then the girl that's in this one too, I forgot her name, but she's also in Doctor Sleep, which I like the performance of Doctor Sleep.
Yeah.
She's okay here. I don't know. I just the casting is so. I did like the what's the name of the girl that plays Watts?
I know who she is. I've seen her in a million things,
Yeah.
and for the life of me, I can't tell you what her name is. She's gorgeous. I remember her from a lot of different movies, but she's most definitely that girl from that thing.
Right,
So,
right. So she's good. All the supporting characters were good. I'll be honest with you. I kind of dozed off in the middle of it, and I didn't bother to go back and watch it. So I got like the first 45 minutes. I got the end 45 minutes. There's a little bit in the middle there that I kind of missed, but I know I didn't miss much because it all got explained in the very end anyway.
yeah, you
Um,
really didn't. No, and you're absolutely right. It is like the lady who wrote and directed this film. Um, this is one of those, like, she did like an episode, she wrote a couple episodes of Westworld, so she's an established writer. She's written
uh-huh,
some stuff that has been very well received, and then she directed a couple episodes of TV. As far as I know, this is like one of her first or second features,
uh-huh.
and it is like she watched LA Confidential, Total Recall, and Strange Days over the course of a weekend, woke up on Monday, thought she had a fucking original idea, and just threw it all into a blender. Here's the thing: it's not that this film is poorly written. It is, however, really fucking poorly paced. It is really just the bare minimum direction wise on this. It is like it was shot for TV. It was shot for coverage. There's nothing interesting or cinematic about it. There is no
No.
standout scene. There is no like real heavy performance. It's almost like she handed them the script and said, "This is your character," and then didn't like give them any kind of background whatsoever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
every performance in this is completely lackluster. They are it is, and I'm not going to say that they're like phoning it in or they're sleeping through it. It's like they have no depth because they weren't given any depth, and if it wasn't on the page, they didn't know where to go with it.
Yeah.
And I really do think that this is a failure of directing because it's not this movie's biggest sin isn't that it's unoriginal. It has some interesting ideas that have been added to it. It all takes place in, post global warming Miami, where the whole city is flooded out, but people still live there. Which I take some issues with that one because the tide has a way of tearing buildings down. But we're not going to get into that. But we
Or
are
or
going to
or
get
any or
into.
any tropical storm or anything like that, because like in the movie, like the water's like right up to the top of the fucking walls. They're like fucking so like I mean, even the slightest breeze will cause waves and just wash right the fuck over. So
Yeah, yeah, shit, just the tides going in and coming out are going to
oh
pull
yeah.
those buildings down.
Oh yeah.
Buildings are not there. Buildings are made to put force downward. They are not meant to sway back and forth. And when you have millions of gallons of water going back and forth against a building, they're not going to be there in a couple of years. Shit,
Yeah.
you're going to be lucky if they're there in a couple of months. So, but neither here nor there. It was an interesting visual. It was an interesting idea. I've seen it elsewhere. I've seen it done better. But this movie's biggest sin is that it's fucking boring.
Yes.
It is legitimately from the very first time that you're introduced to the core concept, which is essentially a ripoff of Strange Days, where people record memories and they put on their little headgear and they can relive those memories. It is exactly that. With the exception of it needs a pod, and then you need somebody to help facilitate you accessing those memories. So it's like unnecessarily complicated technology for the sake of injecting Hugh Jackman's character into the story. And then, the redhead, she's gorgeous. And you know what? I mean, like she's an interesting-ish kind of character, but she's like completely every fucking film noir trope from the 30s and 40s, just smack dab in the middle of a weird dystopian film.
And that's the funny thing about it, is like if you took away the setting, if you took away the sci-fi aspect of it, if you made just a straight up noir, which you could have done, it's all there. It would have been a much better movie. In my opinion, it didn't have to be a period piece. It could have been, even a modern day take on a noir. But I don't know. The bones were there, but it just felt like they needed to put all this unnecessary bullshit and fluff for, like you said, to make it seem like it's interesting and original and new. Yeah.
This movie needed a director with a vision, and it needed a director that knew how to pace shit. And here's the other thing too: for a movie that was a film noir, this movie had like some of the most boring cinematography I've ever seen. It was like, they harsh lit everything, and that's noir. No, it's not. It was really meh. This movie it's a fascinating movie to talk about because it's flawed and there is some meat on it, but it is not a fun movie to watch. It is not an engaging movie to watch. You fell asleep on it. I managed to pry my eyelids open with some toothpicks and fucking power through this thing. And really, this is a sheer test of willpower. I was gonna watch this fucking movie no matter what. But at the end of the day, a movie titled Reminiscence shouldn't be forgettable. So
yeah. I mean, this movie's the equivalent of fucking a Tide Pod challenge, to your friends. Here, see if you can make it through this fucking thing without falling asleep.
Seriously, if you need a cure for insomnia, this is your jam right here. This one will have you out in 30. So
yeah, and I could give zero fucks about these characters. Zero. I mean, there's nothing interesting about any of them. Like I said, the cinematography is boring. If you're going through trouble of having Miami underwater, you better fucking present Miami underwater in a nice, visually entertaining way. There's no really big grand shots. You could really take in the whole city. It was like very, like block by block little snapshots, or sometimes even closer than that, like street by street. It's like you can't. There's no real sense of scale to any of this, So it's like,
yeah, well, the other thing that bothered me was like we see several shots of Hugh Jackman like walking through the streets, and there's like several inches of water in all of the streets because it's flooded. And I'm thinking, first off, why the fuck are you wearing a suit and pants? Shouldn't clothing be a little bit more practical if you know you're getting soaked? And so that was one. And there's electricity everywhere. There's lights everywhere, and I'm thinking, no one's getting electrocuted in this movie? Are you fucking kidding me with this?
No shit, yeah.
And worse still than that, this is going down the line of this movie's big sins. This ending is the most bullshit, obvious, well, yeah, of course it had to end that way ending that I have ever seen in modern films. I was like, Karen and I are watching it, and the ending came up, and Karen like groaned out loud. Oh God, really? So it's like, yeah, this was not just boring. It was tropey. It was unoriginal. It was bad. Just get Total Recall, get LA Confidential, get Strange Days. Watch those 3 movies. They're all better than this by leaps and bounds. Just don't click this shit unless you need to fall asleep because you got to get up in the morning. What about you?
Don't fucking watch it. Stay away from it again. I knew this was gonna happen though. I mean, I predicted this from our last review. So I mean, yeah. I mean, there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say except for
We watched it so you didn't have to. And
yes.
trust me, we just did you fuckers a solid. So
So is it really the only thing left to say is what the fuck are we watching next?
next we are watching the horror film that starts with the letter M. It's a James Wan flick. What the fuck is it?
Let me look at
Monstroso.
No, that's a villain from Venture Brothers.
Montrose.
70s rock band.
Monte Carlo.
Chevrolet midsize sedan.
Oh.
Oh, Malignant.
So next we are watching the kind of tumor you don't want to have. That's right, Malignant on HBO Max.
Well, we'll see you guys the next time.
We will catch you then. How you feel about that shit?